Welcome to Beth's Happy Home. I have had so many people ask me to make this video. I'm going to finally show you my salsa recipe. And I promise that this is as good as anything that you've ever had in your favorite Mexican restaurant. It is absolutely delicious, and it bottles well too. These are tomatoes that were harvested right before the frost, and so they're in various stages of ripening, but it doesn't matter too much. I'm putting some that are still a little bit green. That one doesn't look very good. These tomatoes have been washed, and I pulled their little stems off, but as you can see, I'm not coring them, I'm certainly not peeling them, and I'm just gonna stack them into the blender the way they are, having been scrubbed and made sure that they're nice and clean, and then blend them up. Now, because I left the skins on the tomatoes, this is going to thicken up. It's going to have more body than it would if I had taken the skins off. But the skins have been blended in, so they're going to be indistinguishable. So here's the rest of my tomatoes, 3 or 4 pounds. You can use store-bought tomatoes if you want to. In fact, you could buy all of these ingredients at a grocery store, and it's still going to come out really well. Here is cilantro. Just a word about cilantro. It's a type of parsley, but there is a genetic predisposition to either like it or not like it. So if you hate cilantro, it's probably because you are genetically disposed that way. To some people, cilantro tastes exactly like soap, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't learn to like it unless you could learn to like eating soap. So I've got the rest of the tomatoes. I cut up that cilantro just so that it doesn't twist around the blades a little bit. And now we're going to do an onion. I'm cutting off the root end, peeling off the paper, the papery outside, and then I'm just cutting it into chunks that are manageable to the blender. I'm not worrying about chopping it finely. That's one of the miracles of this recipe, is that it's so quick. So I'm going to do, with about 3 or 4 pounds of tomatoes, I'm going to do 2 yellow onions. And I've got a little scrap of a green onion that grew in the yard, and so I'm going to go ahead and toss that in too, just to add that little brightness of flavor. So if you want to use some yellow onions or any kind of onion, and then add a little bit of green onion too, it's going to make a nice bright flavor. You can see it's not very scientific. It's just toss it all into the blender. But you want quite a bit more tomatoes proportionate to all the other things. This, I use Anaheim chilies instead of jalapeno chilies because they are milder, and so you can control the heat a lot better, but you still get that fresh flavor of a fresh chili. And so, I'm going to use 2 average size Anaheim chilies, and I'm going to leave a few of the seeds in there just to give it a little bit more heat. But this is going to be a very mild salsa. So you take out the majority of that seed core right there, and then just cut it up like you did the onions, just enough so that the blender can get its blades into it. All right. And I have this green pepper that I bought several weeks ago, and it's starting to kind of shrivel in my refrigerator, and so why not throw it into the salsa? It's not spoiling at all. It doesn't have any spoiled spots on it. And it won't add any heat particularly, but it will add more of that nice bright fresh flavor. Okay, so blend it on high. Remembered I forgot to put in the green onion, but I like to put it in last anyway, just so that little bits of it kind of remain visible. So we'll pop that little piece in, and let's see. All right, so that is all blended up. I put some of the tomatoes in the part that has the peppers and the onions and all in it, just so that it will have enough liquid in the mixture to blend well. So that's why I did part in one and part in another. So that's that. A little bit of cilantro, we'll just break it right in there. Okay, so this is going to be naturally your flavor adders, but it's going to be pretty mild, even with all those onions and tomatoes in there. So at this point, I'm going to add a generous dollop of minced garlic, and you can use powdered garlic if you have that on hand. This is a little bit fresher tasting, and I like it. So that's about 2 generous tablespoons. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt, and I will adjust that as we go. I know a teaspoon won't be too much for this. And then about a half a teaspoon of pepper, black pepper. That might be closer to a teaspoon. And then this is just taco seasoning, and you can buy this in a packet if you want to at any grocery store. This is the bulk kind. This is the McCormick brand that I buy at Costco, and I just put in 1/8 of a cup, and so that's going to be 2 tablespoons. So we'll give that a little bit of a stir, and then I like a little bit of extra cumin, and so that's going to be a strong flavor. I'm going to just add about a half a teaspoon to punch up that extra cumin flavor. Stir it all together. You want to get this. The main thing that you need to taste this for is the saltiness. Get the saltiness the way that you like it. As I said, I put in about a teaspoon of salt in this much. This is going to be about 6 cups, I think. But let's see how the saltiness is. Okay, I think it's perfect. So the last ingredient is going to beef up the nutrition of this a lot. And I'm going to add a bunch of black beans. So this colander has black beans in it that I cooked in the pressure cooker. So it was a 1-pound package of black beans. I cooked it with a half a teaspoon of salt and 5 cups of water. It takes 40 minutes in an electric pressure cooker on high, and then I just released the pressure when it was done cooking. I rinsed the beans, and I think I'm only going to add about half of these. I'll save the rest for another dish later on this week, and stir those in. See how it looks. I might want more beans than that, but I think that proportion will be about right. But this black bean salsa is just delicious. You can put it over chicken, or you can eat it with a chip, or you can eat it with crackers. Put it over an omelet, it's divine. It's just gonna be a really good treat, and it's super nutritious, as you can see. So now, this is one of these kick of lime chips, and we're gonna see how this is. That is good stuff. You're gonna be the most popular one at the party. Thanks for watching.